teacher of Japanese at Olathe North High School, received news that Olathe was selected to participate in the Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs Kizuna program. 23 students, representing all 4 Olathe high schools, were selected for this unique and meaningful opportunity. The students, along with 2 teachers, spent 2 weeks learning about the recovery efforts in the Tohoku region of Japan, following the 2011 earthquake and tsunami. In this brief presentation today, we will share with you our journey and share with you the devastation and sadness, along with the recovery and resiliency we saw in the people of Tohoku, Japan.
The Kizuna program was initiated by the Japanese Ministry of Foreign Affairs. The Japan Foundation Center for Global Partnerships provided funding, and the Japan International Cooperation Center coordinated our activities, travel, lodging, and lectures on the ground in Japan. The Laurasian Institute, headquartered in Seattle, Washington, coordinated all of our preparations prior to the departure. A disaster of this magnitude that affects infrastructure at such a serious degree results in miscommunications, misunderstandings, panic, frustration, and despair. The objectives of the Kizuna program were established to help dispel rumors, but also provide awareness about the power of nature and the importance for communities to establish preventative and recovery protocols. By sharing our experiences within our own communities, we lift up the people of Tohoku, and they are continually grateful that we remember them. This map highlights the areas that we visited during our 2-week stay. We started and finished our tour in Tokyo. We only passed through Fukushima Prefecture on our way to Sendai, which served as our base camp. From Sendai, we were able to visit the seaside towns of Iwanuma and Yamamoto. Toward the end of our trip, we were treated to a wonderful 2-day homestay and school visit to St. Ursula School in Hachinohe, Aomori. One of the things that Sendai is most known for is its August Tanabata Festival. During this festival, colorful decorations are hung and wishes for a bountiful harvest are made. The people of Sendai and Tohoku look forward to the return of their energetic Tanabata Festival. We'll begin this journey on March 11, 2011, when the shocking tsunami devastated the Tohoku region after a 9.0 magnitude earthquake.
On March 11, 2011, a magnitude 9.0 earthquake struck the northeast coast of Japan. The epicenter of what became known as the Great East Japan earthquake was approximately 70 kilometers offshore, and the tsunami that followed took only an hour to reach the major island of Honshu. Over 10,000 aftershocks followed. The earthquake's intensity was rare, but the people of Tohoku were familiar with tremors and quakes. A tsunami of such magnitude, however, was unexpected. With most communication infrastructure down by the quake, many did not hear the warnings. Others simply chose not to heed them. An enormous black wave engulfed the coastal areas, devastating everything in its path. The death toll quickly climbed to 3 times that of 9/11. The tsunami stretched 10 kilometers inland and reached a height of 40 meters. Entire communities were washed away. The chaos that ensued was compounded by government gridlock and communication failure.
The music you're hearing was composed by the last reader, Isaiah Hastings.
Mangetsu ga gareki no yama o nobori yuku, shizuka na ruku to requiem no goto.
なんとなくみんなが優しくなりにけり、余震が続く里の町。
ひまわりは悲しき花となりにけり、汚染の土地にあなた咲いて。
Some rescue efforts had to take place in the snow as the Japanese social defense forces rushed to the aid of those in need. Joining them were the firefighters and other civilians helped to help their countrymen. The foreign aid was received from 163 countries and 47 international organizations. 29 countries sent rescue efforts. Chief among them were the United States Navy and Marine Corps.
The poems you just saw and heard recited a few moments ago are called tanka. Many of you may be familiar with a haiku, a Japanese poetry structure of 3 lines containing 5, 7, and 5 syllables respectively. The tanka is an older form of poetry dating back to 9th century Japan. The syllabic structure of the tanka is comprised of 5 lines of 5, 7, 5, 7, 7. Yo Kikuchi, a survivor of the tanka, writes, "The great thing about tanka is its ability, with only 31 syllables, to express the feelings in the author and the time and the way that people can relate to, even if they weren't there. Tokyo no sora ni sakura no michi kedo, 10 kiloke no waga sato kanashi."
ふるさと町になり、地の果てごとく遠くなりたり。
ひと月を体育館に少したる亡骸300体運ばれゆきぬ。
Isa Tsuchimoto from the Studio for Culture Exchange worked with students from the American Japan School to interview survivors and witnesses of the tsunami whose tankas were selected for a special exhibit. The students who worked on this project visited the regions in Tohoku which were affected by the tsunami, brought back photographs, stories of survival and loss, and newfound appreciation for nature's power. A collection of the photographs, poet stories, and the tankas were displayed in the school for a special exhibit. We were able to meet Mr. Tsuchimoto along with teachers and students from the school.
A very important part of our Kizuna journey was all of our first-hand experiences we had with the people affected by the tsunami and earthquake, especially with ones our own age. On our second day in Sendai, we were taken directly to the area of destruction and listened to not only plans of recovery, but stories of strength and survival from the victims of this terrible disaster. We were taken to a sample of a new preventive measure the Japanese have come up with in case of future tsunamis, called the Hill of Hope. These hills will be built as a high-ground safe place for the Japanese people if another tsunami were to come. The best part about these hills, though, is that their foundation is the very rubble from the destruction of 3/11, turning the negative results into something positive and uplifting. The next day, we were taken to a strawberry greenhouse in the town of Yamamoto, and were then invited to spend time doing activities with some high school children and disabled adults. Some of these men and women had lost homes or family members to the earthquake and tsunami, and it was so touching to have them trust us, practical strangers, with their stories. The way we all came together, despite our completely different cultures, and formed these personal connections was one of the best parts of the trip and created memories that can never be replaced.
切りつつる蔵の後ろに
家抱く入学式に二人の母よ。
口癖になる仕事場のあの日から時間はずっとたまれるものを
父の家抱きしめる子を母方く前その的に20キロ圏
Miyagi Prefecture implemented a 10-year plan for recovery and revitalization of the affected communities. After 2 years spent in the recovery phase, the affected communities are just now beginning to enter a 4-year phase of regeneration. It will take another 7 years before the seaside area in Miyagi can expect to be fully revitalized.
あの日から茶も人も粉焼き我より大きなひまわりの咲く
青年の月が仮設の屋根屋根をひそと照らして秋を降らせり
As we left Sendai one morning to visit the villages along the coast and meet with witnesses and survivors, we were told that we would be performing for neighborhood school children, disabled adults, and older adults living in temporary houses. We were nervous about our performance, the Kansas song, and an improv hoedown. We hoped that we could cheer up the members of the community who had lost so much. On the bus, we were taught a song, the Yamamoto song, composed by witnesses and survivors of the tsunami. We were told that we would be singing this song with our audience, so we practiced it over and over again. We came to Tohoku to listen, learn, and somehow perhaps offer hope. We were very happy singing this song with a small community gathered in that gym. We were inspired, and we left feeling that we were the recipients of a warm and generous gift. An act of nature can take away loved ones, possessions, means for work, and homes. But bonds, or Kizuna, and the power of human connection sustains us and is the seed for recovery and hope.
Thank you for experiencing our journey through these tanka, photos, and stories. Over and over again, when we asked what the people of Tohoku needed, they just said, share our story and remember us. As we remember our friends in Tohoku, let's also remember the disasters that have affected people in Joplin, Missouri, Oklahoma, and areas affected by Hurricane Sandy. We must also remember those affected by human-induced conflicts, like Sandy Hook and the violence taking place in other parts of the world. Sometimes just reaching out to someone plants a seed of hope. We'd like to share now this uplifting and hopeful song from Yamamoto. Y'all ready to sing along?
Yeah. くて